when you're developing leaders, one of the things you'll speak a lot about when you're raising kids or you're developing leaders in business, you'll say, you want things to change, you got to change, right? And change comes in three different ways. One of it is intentional, okay, where you're intentionally choosing to change. Second one is accidental. It wasn't like you were choosing to change. An event happened, then you're like, oh, okay. You're in an environment, you're working at a company, you have the right friends around you, got lucky. They're reading books, you read the book. They're getting on a diet to lose weight, you're getting on it. But it's accidental, it's not really intentional. And then the last kind of change happens through force. You don't have an option.
That's the burning platform.
That's exactly the one where, the conflict equals community, where to me, a guy who was born in Iran, I see war. I'm born 78. We escaped Iran in 89. You're seeing all that hot mess in Iran. You're like, oh, my God, there's no way in the world, and you go through a certain level of pain. By the way,
the early 80s was terrible in Iran. I mean, that was
horrible.
That's when I lived. Out the kids to clear minefield.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
where I lived. I lived in the capital in the early, late 80s. Did you ever know Lawrence Miller?
No.
You ever read the book Barbarians to Bureaucrats?
No, I haven't.
So I think you would like this book. The way he broke it down, he gave this perspective before business. And he said corporate life cycle strategies, okay? And he said throughout every single company, first you have the profit. The face of any company goes through. First there's a profit, the founder. Okay, here's what we're going to be doing, okay? The founder comes on and says, we're going to, do this, except we're going to do it better. Then the founder attracts barbarians who goes and gets stuff done, okay? Founding fathers also had barbarians. Then barbarians attract builders and explorers. What if we build this? What if we explore to the west? What if we explore to the north or the south or the east? Then they attract administrators. Then administrators and lawmakers attract bureaucrats and aristocrats. Then comes the fall. Okay.
Yeah. Then they got the decadent generation born after that.
That's it. So in other words, the way he explained the business life cycle is similar to the way you're describing the life cycles of a country that we're going through. Maybe let me ask you a different question.
But I want to say something interesting. When we did the fourth turning back in 1997, it was kind of a nice moment in America. The economy was doing better. The stock market was winning.
That's right. That's
everything was pretty nice.
Pre the bubble.
Yeah, it was in the bubble was beginning to warm up, and everyone
Comcast, AOL, Yahoo.
Yeah, these guys are predicting this crisis way out there. Wow, it's kind of a gloomy book, pessimistic book. I came out with this book last year. The fourth turning is here, and I get the opposite reaction. People read the book and they say, "What, you think it's actually going to end? It's going to get better? You mean there's something good coming after that? We're going to refine community? Are you kidding?" So it's interesting how our perspective has changed, right? In other words, people are so hopeless now. People are so alone. People feel so completely separated from any sense of either partisan community, national community, whatever. But that's it. On this sense of war, there is a place in the book where I talk about this. William James, who actually took a summer, he took a year, he went out to Stanford. Kind of went out to California. I believe that was 1906. It was the year of the San Francisco earthquake. It's kind of an interesting year. But earlier in that year, he gave a speech, which is very famous. I think most Americans have heard the name. If they haven't read it, you should read it. It's only about 20 pages long. It's called The Moral Equivalent of War, right? Very famous. He was a pacifist, by the way. He didn't participate in the Civil War. And he asked, is there any way we could substitute the social function of war? And most of the speech is about how important war is for shaping and developing nations. It teaches people to sacrifice their personal needs, give to the commonweal, to, confront adversity, to do great things, to have great things come out of them, and to build big institutions and to try new projects and to take new risks. And It sounds very convincing. In fact, it sounds so convincing that you're not really sure he thinks there's a substitute for war. But in the middle of the speech, he says something very interesting. He says, I want to ask everyone here who's listening. Again, this is in 1906. He said, how many here would have wished that the Civil War had never happened? Kind of interesting. I mean, probably some of the people there are veterans,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Some of them probably disabled. And he immediately answers his own question. I know already, almost none of you wish the Civil War had never happened, because we would not be the kind of nation we are today. We're united, industrializing, we have national railroads, national time zones. I mean, we're a juggernaut that's been unleashed. No one would have wished the Civil War had not happened. That's kind of interesting, right? And then he asked another question, but this is paradoxical. He said, how many would wish another such war just a few years from now? Because no one would. But
What a great question after following up with that.
But interesting, Patrick, isn't this the way? I've talked to a lot of people about their personal lives. And I've asked people, I said, think about an event in your life that was pretty bad. It might have been a death in your family, a divorce, a business that went bust, just a horrendous period.
Sure.
And then you ask people, think about that. Would you have wished that that never have happened? I've done this with a lot of people, and I find most people, upon reflection, say, it was good it happened. I'm actually a better person. I'm a more perceptive person. I'm a deeper, I'm more mature. I'm wiser. And then, of course, you ask me, you want another event like that? And I said, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good on that,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
But isn't it interesting? We always gain by a rite of passage, but we don't want a new rite of passage. This is why I say that history is like that. History takes us places we don't want to go. But in this complex system, social system, which is the history of a modern society, it takes us places where we don't want to go. As I imagine a lot of Americans right now feel we're all being taken to a place where no one wants to go. I mean, I'm just thinking of this political season right now.
In these uncertain times, if there's anything we need people to believe the future looks bright. So if you've heard about me saying this mission to you, we're on a mission to get 1 million people to wear this gear. And this is what we're doing. If you buy one of these hats, there's a category of buying one hat, getting the second one free. If you haven't yet worn this gear publicly, go ahead and test it out. Buy some of the gear, wear it in public, and see how many people will stop by and say, you also watch Valuetainment? You also follow PBD Podcast? I do too. Place your order. Go to vtmerch.com. Click on the link above or below. Place your order and represent the VT and the PBD Podcast gear.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.